It's Thursday, July 17th.
Completely out of the blue. As far as I'm aware, it never happened anywhere in Canada either.
Hijacking reaction. The suspect accused of stealing a plane in Victoria and disrupting air traffic in Vancouver is charged with hijacking and terrorism offences.
We're going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
First Nations leaders keeping their expectations in check before meeting with Prime Minister Mark Carney today over a contentious major projects law.
It's an accident waiting to happen.
A new report says e-scooter injuries are on the rise across Canada. Stay with us. Your morning starts right now. Canada, welcome to Your Morning. I'm Anne-Marie Mediwake.
Good morning. I'm Lindsey Deluce.
And I'm Michelle Jobin. Kelsey is away today. We hope your day's off to a great start.
Nice to have you back.
It's great to be here. Hello.
I know. How's the summer going?
It's great.
Can you believe it's, what is it, the 18th today?
It's one of those things where it's just...
17th.
It gets started and then it just goes so fast.
I know.
But I am always happiest in summer. So
Are you?
I'm very happy, yes.
And it's a hot one today.
It sure
but there's
is.
some relief in set, I understand.
There is for some of us. So
Yes.
we will talk about that.
All right, sounds good. In the meantime, we're learning more details about that hijacked plane in BC.
It was quite an orderly process. The aircraft landed, RCMP responded, the lone occupant was taken into custody.
Court documents show Shahir Kasim is facing hijacking and terrorism charges. We've also learned he's a former commercial pilot. Sources say the 39-year-old, here's the backstory. The 39-year-old booked a tour in a Cessna in Victoria. At some point on the ground, he threatened the pilot with a knife. The pilot was able to get away, and then the suspect took off for Vancouver. The suspect apparently told air traffic control that his plan was to shut down the airspace for hours to bring attention to the climate crisis.
Vancouver's first line of duty is to protect any other aircraft coming into the field, which they did. They diverted 9 flights as far away as Calgary and Seattle.
NORAD is confirming American fighter jets and Canadian CF-18 Hornets were in the process of responding to the hijacking, but minutes later they were told to turn back when the Cessna landed in Vancouver. And then, as we know, the pilot was arrested on the runway. This whole incident caused 39 minutes of ground stop at Vancouver's airport. Water bombers are the main tool in the fight against wildfires in Newfoundland and Labrador, but they've been grounded for now.
When I seen those water bombers pitch in our bay this morning, like the gratitude that we all hold for them is just, you just can't really put it into words.
The water bombers were grounded yesterday because of poor visibility caused by all the smoke. But before that, the water bombers and a change in wind direction did enough to keep the Chance Harbor wildfire away from 2 communities. People in Jamestown and Winterbrook, though, are still being told you need to be ready to go at any point. 2 helicopters are currently on standby in case the fire starts moving closer. Prime Minister Mark Carney will meet with First Nations leaders this morning to talk about their concerns over Ottawa's national projects law.
If this is a success, I think it's getting a solid commitment from the Prime Minister of discussions of how free, prior and informed consent will be implemented.
First Nations leaders say their rights were not respected as Bill C-5 was rushed through Parliament last month. The law gives Ottawa a new power to fast-track major development projects considered to be in the nation's interest. First Nations leaders say they're not against development. They just want to be involved in the approval process for projects.
Bill 5 and Bill C-5 are pieces of legislation that attempt to bulldoze over First Nation rights and lands.
Ahead of today's meeting, 9 First Nations in Ontario launched a legal challenge against the federal law, and a similar one passed by Queen's Park. After today's meeting, Prime Minister Mark Carney plans to meet with Inuit and Métis leaders. Prime Minister Mark Carney has announced new measures to boost Canada's steel industry.
For Canada to build big things fast, we need our steel industry to advance, not retreat.
Here's the plan. By the end of July, Ottawa will tighten the quota for steel coming from countries without a free trade agreement with Canada. Anything beyond that will face a tariff of 50%. This measure is meant to reduce the amount of foreign steel coming into Canada. Much of it has been diverted here after the U.S. imposed tariffs on the global steel industry in March. Prime Minister Carney also announcing companies bidding on government projects will have to use Canadian steel. He says these measures will help Canadian steel producers sell their products domestically since they've effectively been shut out of the U.S. market since March. Police are still searching for answers around the disappearance of Jack and Lily Sullivan. It has been 2.5 months after they were reported missing.
A tremendous amount of careful, deliberate investigative work is underway by people here at home and in other parts of Canada.
The Nova Scotia RCMP says this investigation has grown into one of the biggest in its history. Investigators are poring over 5,000 video files. They're following up on more than 600 tips. Police have confirmed they did find a pink blanket that belonged to Lily. It is now being tested. 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack were reported missing on May 2nd by their family in Pictou County. The main stage at Belgium's Tomorrowland EDM Festival has burned days ahead of its planned opening. Whoa. You know what you're hearing right there? That's fireworks going off as the stage burned Wednesday. Around 1,000 staff members had to be taken out because of this massive fire. Ugh. Thankfully, no one was injured. Oh, there you go. You can hear it there. That's wild. The festival, guys, it's supposed to start tomorrow. Not probably happening. Organizers say the campsite for the festival is still scheduled to open today as they work on finding solutions to their destroyed stage. The fire, obviously, under investigation. Eugenie Bouchard will play her last pro tennis match at this year's National Bank Open in Montreal. Bouchard announced her plan on social media with a post saying this, quote, "You'll know when it's time. For me, it's now." It all started in Montreal. There it is. Bouchard became the first Canadian woman to play in a Grand Slam final in the Open era at Wimbledon in 2014. She has also reached the semis at the French and Australian Opens. Bouchard is now, I didn't know this, Bouchard is now a pro pickleball player. How about that? New data released this morning says injuries related to e-scooters are on the rise. People say there needs to be clear rules on their use.
We need to rethink how we're doing our paths and who's on it, and make sure that people know the rules of the road, and they don't.
The Canadian Institute for Health Information says hospitalizations involving e-scooters are up across the country from 2022 to 2024. The rise was the biggest for children 5 to 17. That age range is up about 61%. Most of the riders who end up in emergency departments were not wearing a helmet. Rules on where people can e-scoot differ depending on where you live. But the report says even in places where they aren't allowed on roads or paths, these rules are being ignored. The Buffalo Sabres are looking ahead to the next hockey season in a pretty fun way. So what they're doing, they're assigning a type of chicken wing to each team. Do you guys want to see this?
Yep.
Here are the highlights. For the Leafs, they're labeled this wing as the choking hazard. Funny. Okay, so the Buffalo Sabres haven't made the playoffs since 2011, by the way. Edmonton, they went the obvious route, the oil slick wings.
Okay.
Alberta, also sticking there. Calgary's are flaming hot.
Nice. Love it.
Montreal, they presented their take on a Montreal style wing.
I love this.
Ottawa, a little unfair maybe.
Oh.
Just plain wing. Just a plain wing.
That's funny.
Winnipeg's.
That's funny.
Yes.
That's funny. Do you want to see a gross one?
Yep.
Yes.
This is out of Utah.
Oh.
It's the woolly wing.
Nope.
That's so gross.
That's
Blech. What